सतगुरु महाराज जी की जय, सच्चे दरबार की जय. If we deeply observe and think about the creation, it is so amazing, it's breathtaking. That how God created this universe, this creation, and how perfectly it's designed. Everything and everyone is interconnected. There's divine law which is operating the whole universe. And everything is working in that system on its own. How we are connected with the nature, if we look at what we breathe out is food for something else, and what they breathe out is their waste, is food for us. If we look at trees, they take carbon dioxide and they release oxygen, which is a waste to the tree. But their waste is our life force. We take that oxygen and we live on that oxygen, and in turn, we convert that oxygen into carbon dioxide, which is food for the nature, food for the trees. The birds eat small insects on the ground and they feed on them. But one day comes when those birds die and they become the food of those insects. We live on this ground, we walk on this ground, we own this ground, but then time comes when we are beneath the ground, when ground swallows us. And how perfectly God created gravitational force, because of which we are able to walk on this earth, we are able to live. Imagine if there was no gravity. How would we walk on earth? How everything would exist in this universe? Everything would collide. Everything will destroy each other. But because of that perfect system, everything is in its place and working according to divine law. It is amazing that one seed can give birth to millions of new seeds. And those seeds, when sowed in the ground, can give birth to millions of new trees in the nature. And it's even more amazing to see that when a child is born, when a baby is born, even though it does not have any knowledge of this world, it does not speak the language, doesn't know anything of this world. Doesn't matter if it's a human child or another or animal child, but it has the ability, it has the knowledge to suck on mother's milk and drink that milk. Now imagine if it did not have that ability, how this universe, how this creation, how this humanity will live on. But God created a perfect system. Even though we do not possess any knowledge, we don't have any idea where we have come, but we do know how to survive. We know how to drink milk. We know how to manage and survive in this world. Now, seeing the nature, we can understand that how everything is interconnected, how everything is being balanced out, how everything is operating in the universe. And that is all under a divine system. But when we look at our own lives, we forget that concept that we are also part of that system. We are also part of that divine law where we're supposed to live in a certain way. We are supposed to operate in a certain manner. We're supposed to be doing certain things in life. That's why we are in this world. But we forget that. We think that we are only in this world to live for our own self. We are supposed to take benefit of others. We're supposed to receive. We're only supposed to get. We're only supposed to succeed in our own life and not do anything for anyone else. We forget that. That is the reason that misery and pain and thorns of suffering keep pricking our heart and life over and over continuously as long as we are in this world. Yet we seek peace, Yet we seek happiness, we seek joy, but we do not learn that until we do not bring ourselves in accordance to God's divine law, we won't be able to experience that peace that we're looking for, that joy that we seek, and the happiness that we want in our life. But when you uplift spiritually, when you go in a shelter of an enlightened being, a master, a guru, only then we realize what is the purpose of this life, how to live this life, and what are the acts that we're supposed to perform and what are the acts that we should not perform. Because everything that we do in our life not only affects us, but it has an impact on our environment and the universe. When we commit a sin or we do a wrong deed or negative deed, not it's only impacting your life, and it definitely know this, it will impact your life at certain point in your life, but it's also impacting the nature, it's impacting your surroundings and the universe, and there are consequences for that. If you take a stone and you throw it in a pond, you will hear the splash, you will see the splash, but it also creates small waves that will extend out to a long distance. Now you have only control over throwing the stone in a pond, but you have no control over the waves that it will create. So when we perform an action, we do not have control the reaction that it will bring in this universe and in our life. So when we find a teacher, when we find a realized master, and we start to learn, we will uplift to a level where we are able to realize the reality of life, where we'll be able to see the divine laws that are operating the universe and that are also operating our life. We will realize that the whole universe is under a certain system, and then we are also part of that system. No matter how intelligent we are, no matter how keen our thinking is, no matter how much wisdom we possess, we cannot escape that system. And just like everything is being balanced in the universe, also our actions have to be balanced out as well. That is why in the Bible it is said, as you sow, so shall you reap. That whatever action you will perform, there will be consequence for that. There will be reaction for that. There will be fruit for that action, which you will have to eat yourself. So be careful what you do in this world. Be careful what you say. Be careful what you think. And be careful the acts that you perform in your life. Because all of that have consequences. And you will have to reap the fruit of those actions, thoughts, and words that you speak. And when we are in a shelter of a realized master, he gives us that divine technique. He gives us that divine path that we can walk on and realize the higher reality of life. Realize the actual reality of life. Then we can live our life in a completely different perspective. Once there were 3 friends, and they would always discuss how this creation is being operated, how much balance there is, what is that power that's doing all of this, what they're supposed to do in life, what this life is all about, who am I, where I have come from, all these questions they were discussed. And then one day they find out that there's a realized master in town. And they decided we should go to him and ask him all these questions, because surely he will give us the answers. So one day they got together and they went to the master. They bowed down, they sat next to him, and with so much humbleness they asked these questions from the master. Master gave them the answers, but at the end, master said, there's only so much you can understand. There's so much only you can comprehend with the limited intellect and limited mind that you possess. Only if you will be able to experience from within, only then you will realize what this whole creation is all about, what life is all about. So the Master initiated them and gave them the divine vision, opened up the third eye and made them see the light of the self within. And at that moment, they realize who they're part of, what divine is, what God is. And slowly they started walking on that path. They started meditating. They would come to the Master, listen to the discourse. And slowly they start staying with the Master all the time. And Master would bless them with his divine thoughts and gave them so much of spiritual wisdom. So one day Master wanted to test them that how much they have learned and how much they have understood. So he called them and gave them one pigeon each and told them, now go and kill this pigeon where no one sees you. Make sure only kill the pigeon if there's no one to see your act. Now all three of them went in different directions looking for a spot where there's no one there. And they walked around and they went far away from the town. And at evening, they all returned. So the Master asked the first one, were you able to complete the task? He says, yes, Master. I went far away from the town where there was no one, not even a single person was there. And when I checked all around, I completed the task. So the Master asked the second one, did you complete your task? He said, Master, I also went far away. And I saw that there was nobody. But when I was about to kill the pigeon, I saw that the pigeon was looking at me. And I remembered that no one should be looking. So I couldn't do it. But then I thought how to overcome that problem. I put a piece of cloth on pigeon's eye. And when it wasn't looking, I completed the task. So the Master asked the third one, did you complete your task? He said, Master, I went far away from the town as well. I looked, there was nobody. But then I looked at the pigeon and I knew that the pigeon is looking. And I also did the same thing. I put a piece of cloth on pigeon's eye. And when I was about to do, I realized even though the pigeon's not looking, even though no one else is looking, but I realized that I am looking, God is looking, and God is looking through me at that act that I'm about to perform. So I could not find any place where I could do and complete the task that you told me. The Master was so pleased with his answer and says, you have learned what I wanted to teach. No matter where you go, no matter if no one's looking, still you are looking. God is looking, and God is looking through your eyes, the acts that you are performing. So even if no one knows, you will know, and God will know. And there are examples in the world that when people did perform immoral act, even no one knew, but they knew, and they felt guilty, they felt bad inside. And that guilt converted into depression. And that depression led to even taking their own lives. Because even if no one knows, you know inside what you have done. God knows what you have done. And that act, that action will bear fruit in your life, which will be very, very bitter if it's a fruit of an immoral act. If it's a fruit of a bad deed, it will be very, very bitter. And it will be very hard to swallow. So in life, do good deeds. Because even if no one is looking, God is watching, and you know in your own heart that you have done something good. Even if we forget about the perfect system, divine system, the system that we have in this world is not perfect. Yet, people, when they do wrong, there's a punishment for it. And sometimes people get away with certain things for a long time, but eventually somewhere in their life, they do get caught for the actions they perform, and then they get punished for it. There are people who committed sin a long time, decades back in their life, but it comes to surface when they are old and they are punished for those actions. There are many, numerous examples of those things in this world. So imagine God's perfect law. How we will be able to escape that. So spirituality teaches us how to live life righteously, how to perform actions that are pure, how to have pure thoughts, how to speak pure words, the power to do the right thing. Because when you do all of these things, peace and happiness and joy is experienced in life. And when you do the opposite, pain and suffering, conflicts and misery is experienced in life. So being spiritual, uplifting in spirituality gives us the power of discrimination. So you can judge on your own for yourself what to do, what not to do, what to say, what not to say. And be considerate and be humble and be compassionate towards everything in the universe, not only to human beings, but to everything that is around us. So dear friends, have good thoughts, speak soft words, and perform good deeds in life. And connecting with your own self, connecting with that divine through meditation, this will become possible. It's not hard to do all of these things. All you need is the power inside, the realization inside, and it will become a part of you to think good, to do good, to say something good to others. It will be part of you. It will not be a forceful act. And realize one thing very deeply in your heart, that we are part of that divine system, and no matter what we do, we cannot escape it. So let us learn that system. Let us learn the divine laws so we can live according to those rules and regulations. And if we are able to follow those rules and regulations, then peace and happiness and joy will exist. Fulfillment in life, contentment in your heart will exist. So dear friends, continue meditating, continue elevating, possess pure thoughts, speak soft words, and do good deeds in life. So until next time, God bless.